Console game reviews by GameSHOUT. Console game reviews including Xbox, PlayStation, and others. GameSHOUT. GameSHOUT.
Welcome back to GameSHOUT Radio. It's time for Gamepad Gamers, the console review show, the #1 best on the internet radio stations anywhere. This is GameSHOUT's Gamepad Gamers. I'm SexyJosh, hanging out tonight. We got a killer show for you. We got some really good games to talk about tonight, starting off with the preview of Peter Jackson's King Kong for the Xbox, PS2, Xbox 360, and PS3. Vicious is going to give us all the lowdown on that. Then we have a review of The Suffering, Ties That Bind for the Xbox and PS2 with myself, SexyJosh. Then Jadry's going to tell us all about the upcoming title, Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance for the GameCube. Quite an interesting little transition from the Game Boy to the GameCube. This should be an interesting game, but we're going to get more information from Jadry in a little bit here. And then later on in the show, TrickNeal is going to give us the ultimate review for Ultimate Spiderman for the Xbox, PS2, and GameCube. So we got a huge show, folks. We got tons to go on right now. So just stay tuned. Plus, we're going to be giving away another game tonight. That's going to be cool. So let's just start off with Vicious's preview of Peter Jackson's King Kong.
This is it, the island of skulls. There is an island where men do not go, for good reason. Oh my God! Get ready for an unbelievable journey, unlike any other. A journey that will force you to look into the eyes of the beast and to look through them.
He's not a monster. He could have killed me, but he didn't.
Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie, coming November 2005.
King Kong. Of course, King Kong. Do you guys remember that old movie about the monkey? That clay animated monkey that makes its way to the top of the Empire State Building with a little girl in his hand, and then he falls off and hits the ground and goes boom? You know, I think I just gave away the ending to the movie to anybody that's going to go out and see the new King Kong by Peter Jackson, but hey, he might change it. Regardless, we're not talking about the movie that Peter Jackson's making, we're talking about the video game. The video game that is coming out to the Xbox, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 3. That I'm pretty sure is going to be a pretty good game. Now, we've seen a real-time Xbox demo that's been going around the net. There's a few videos as well. Well, I got my hands on the Xbox real-time demo, and I was looking at that. I'm very impressed. The game looks nice. I mean, the best way I can really describe this game is comparing it to Metal Gear Solid 3, because it's got that same jungle feature that Metal Gear Solid 3 has. And, well, it just looks plain cool. I mean, you've got a really nice atmosphere. You've got very clear and distinct features for the character models. You've got a really, really nice atmosphere of light coming in. Well, what's really cool is they actually put in these little light direction models, so you get this this sense of where the sun is when it's coming down through the trees. It looks really, really cool. It's something I've never actually seen in any other game. That includes Metal Gear Solid 3. King Kong is actually a first-person shooter, but for the first time, and I swear that I've never seen this before, it doesn't have a HUD. Now, you know, a heads-up display, you've got your ammo on one side, you've got your special powers on the other for some games, your armor, your health. Well, in King Kong, you don't have that. It really, really puts you in this mood of having everything come towards you in the game. You've got a whole forest in front of you, well, this whole island, and when you're playing the game you get that feeling even better because you don't have any messy HUD buttons anywhere. So this really, really gives it's immersive. You know, you're playing the game and you just get drawn right into it. And of course, this is a Canadian game for any of you Canadian guys out there. This is basically made by Ubisoft Montreal and a little bit of Ubisoft France, but I'm going to have to say Montreal did most of the work. And yeah, it looks interesting. It's got a lot of features in it that are going to be pretty cool. You know, one, having to fight King Kong is going to be cool all in itself. I mean, he is a rather large ape, and I'd like to see how the little Luger pistol that they got going around in the game is going to match up to King Kong himself. Luger. Oh.
Yes, Luger.
Sorry.
Luger.
I wasn't around when they made the Mav. So.
Oh, I hurt now.
That's gonna hurt.
I think it left a scar.
Or pulled up a new one. Yes, there's a bunch of stuff in this game that I'm looking very forward to seeing. I mean, one, I actually want to hear how the voice actors are going to pull off, well, their roles that they pulled off in the movies. You know, like Jack Black is actually going to be in the video game. He's going to be, I'm not sure what character he plays in the movie, but he's playing the same character in the video game, and I am a fan of Jack Black. I know Josh is too. I mean,
Cool. Yeah, I am a fan of Jack Black, but he actually plays the film director in the movie.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, that's him then. In the actual real-time demo, you see a bunch of like little guys running around, and you see like dinosaurs and King Kong and like a bunch of animals and stuff. But you see this one guy carrying around a camera, so I'm gonna guess that's Jack Black. But I don't think that's who you are in the video game. I'm not actually certain who you are in the video game, but you have a gun, so hey, it works. Yeah, I'm questioning how long this is going to take to come out for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, because the consoles aren't out yet, but I'm pretty sure the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox version are going to be out around the same time the movie gets released, yes, December 14th, 2005. And I'll give you a more in-depth review when that date comes around and I actually get to play the game. But so far it looks like a really interesting game. I can't wait to play it myself. King Kong for the PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, GameCube as well. You know what? It's just coming out for everything. Even the DS and the PSP. Right, so it's coming out for everything then. I'll give you more information about it when I get more information about it.
That's the most consoles I've ever heard any game coming out for. That development team has to be working like double time. You got, all right, man, we gotta like totally code it for the Xbox, the PS2, the Xbox 360, the PS3, the GameCube, probably the next generation Revolution, the DS, oh my lord, probably gonna throw a Game Boy in there somewhere and a few cell phone games. Oh, anyways. Oh god, I love being on the cusp of a new generation of consoles. So anyways, that's thank you Vicious for that great preview of Peter Jackson's King Kong. But right now we're going to jump into my review of The Suffering, Ties That Bind.
Something dark and unspeakable left you deeply scarred. Spread farther than you ever could have imagined. The familiar streets of Baltimore are stained with the blood of the suffering. Your path draws you home to find the true source of the evil. Ultimately, you must make the choice between right and wrong. But sometimes even the strongest will is not enough to hold back the demons inside. The Suffering, Ties That Bind. Coming fall 2005. This title is not yet rated.
It's rated mature and out now. That's right, The Suffering, Ties That Bind. I got my hands on a pretty cool copy of it and have been playing it almost non-stop ever since. This is one of those games that comes along every now and then and just, throws caution to the wind. Well, all right, let me put it this way. If you can, it's like an action film. If you can dumb down, your brain enough that you can sit down and just, take it at its face value, it's a great game. You get a little too in-depth with it, and you're going to start seeing it fall apart. The game overall is pretty good, I have to say. But there's a few little points that kind of, torque me in certain ways, no pun intended, seeing as how the main character's name's Torque. Alright, so the whole game starts off with you, you as Torque, sitting down playing chess with this other cellmate of yours while you're in prison. It kind of basically gives you a visual playback of what happened in the first game. For anyone who played the first game, you know that Torque's this prison inmate who's in prison for apparently killing his wife and children. Well, at least we all think so. All throughout the game, you're being haunted by this, evil specter of a doctor in the first one, and then your wife is also there too, telling you what you're doing wrong. You could choose a good path or a bad path. You become a monster at one point in time, but overall, it pretty much ended in, you escape the island and get away. But now you're in, I believe. I think I can't remember correctly. I think it was you're in Baltimore now. That's where you are. That's the city. Now you're running free and rampant on the streets of Baltimore. This is a lot different than the first game because the first game was pretty claustrophobic and inside the prison. I mean, there was outside levels for the most part, but the rest of the game just felt too claustrophobic. Well, unfortunately, I felt that way in certain levels of this game as well. The action is awesome, but there's just some of these enemies that, in a close quarter combat, it's sometimes insane to go up against, even on a normal setting. It's not that hard, it's just sometimes it's just the overall makeup of the enemies just didn't seem as thought out as well as I could have, hoped for. Graphically, the game's pretty good. It's a step up from last year's Suffering, but it's not, not much better than any other title on either Xbox or PS2. Animation, however, is really good. Watching the cutscenes, it's fluid, it's very well done. Animation within the game itself is also really good. So I have to say that they've done a really good job with the overall animation and just the whole telling of the story. Now, we also have the actual gameplay itself. You get your choice of running around with you can only take 2 weapons at a time. A lot of melee, a lot of ranged weaponry. You get to turn into the beast again at some point in time, but choosing your different, your good or evil path tells you, it gives you a different kind of beast when you morph into this monster from hell. Alright, so you finally escape the island. You're in Baltimore. Some weird government-looking mercenary guys have picked you up now, saying that you're the one. So now you're confused as to whether you're Torque, Neo, or Sean Connery on acid. Nobody's really sure, because the whole game is a tripping scene to begin with. That's right. The game, they do an awesome job at these sudden random jump-out shocks, these weird, trippy visuals of flashbacks and the whole ghost appearance. Half the time you're not sure if you're playing as a sane character or an insane character because so much crap is just going on. Not only that, but the legions of hell have descended upon Baltimore itself. So now you're running through the city streets as like normal citizens are having to deal with all this, ghoulish gorgers, these giant creatures, these guys with spikes for arms, syringes for eyes. Then you also have the doctor and the weird doctor ghost guy, telling you your future again, or trying to, push you in a path that he feels is, most helping to you. Torque. What a wonderful character. And then you also have this other weird guy in a giant jacket chasing your wife down, who's dead to begin with again. And the whole point is you're trying to figure out who actually did kill your family, which you kind of find out who does. And the story is just kind of let down, and for the most part, I wasn't very much impressed by it. It just seemed like an easy way to scramble together a reason that you're out here in the city streets defeating the armies of hell. But hey, that's just me. So, if you're looking for a good time with not so much brain power needed, definitely pick up the Suffering Ties That Bind. I can't say it was a very bad game. I mean, there's really no multiplayer, which sometimes is a bad thing, but we're starting to see a big comeback for the single-player games ever since the whole multiplayer era. It's good that we're finally balancing out again. So check this game out. It's definitely worth your time if you're into the whole horror, psychotropic, acid-induced games. But otherwise, if you're just looking for some, something that's really deep and has a good storyline, pick up Final Fantasy. It's the best I could say. So overall, I have to give this game a 7.6 out of 10. I think it was decent, but it could have been better. So that's my review of The Suffering Ties That Bind. Now we're going to hand it on over to Jadri.
We've got another one that we could give away if you want to.
Oh, we do have another Suffering. That's right, but we're going to give away.
That's
that away before we go to break, so that we can have people call in. That way, we're not
during break?
interrupting during the break. We'll give that away.
I don't have a review.
So we do. You don't. That's true, actually. You know what, folks? Let's give this away now. All right, we got The Suffering.
You can do it
Ties That
anytime.
Bind. The Xbox
For
version.
Xbox.
For Xbox. So if you don't have a PS2 and we gave that away last week, we have the Xbox version for you now. If you have a GameCube, you're SOL here. So
You got to be 18 or over.
You have to be 18 or older. You have to live in the United States of America, and you have to be caller 3. So, Mav, what's that lovely phone number?
That's right. Caller 3 at 866-300-9079. That's toll free at 1-866-300, that's 300-9079. Call now.
Caller number 3. So as soon as you guys get it on, caller number 3, we're going to have a free copy of Ties That Bind for you. How can you go wrong? That's right. It's GameSHOUT. We love giving away this crap to you guys.
And if you're
crap,
listening,
it's still a fun game.
If you're listening to the podcast, don't call.
Oh, yeah,
pretty
that's
much.
right. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're listening to the podcast, the game's already given away. You better have listened during Thursday.
Yeah, you got to listen during the live show on Thursday. Oh, hold on. Let me get that.
Caller number 1.
Caller number 2. No, that's 2.
Is that caller number 2? All right, well, let's jump on over to... let's see if we can get caller number 3 here. You got caller number 2. We need one more call. Come on, folks, one more call, and we're going to give this away. We're running short on time here. All right, should we just go on over to Jadri? Or did he get into caller number 3? I think he might have gotten caller number 3.
I think he did.
I think he did. I think he got caller number 3 because he's not answering me.
He's on the phone. He's on the phone with somebody.
There's caller number 3.
Now he's off the phone.
GameSHOUT Radio, this is Capt Maverick.
Hi, this is Nick.
Well, Nick, you're caller number 3. Yeah, you did it, dude. Yeah, welcome. Good job, man. Welcome to GameSHOUT Radio. You did it, man. Yeah, so, Nick, you're
where you
caller
calling
number
from?
3? Well,
Sounds like it.
Nick, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Halifax.
That's okay. And, Nick, we're going to get you out a copy of Suffering Ties That Bind for Xbox. Yeah, I'm sorry. And that's a midway game. We'll get that right off to you right away. But, Nick?
So, Nick, who's the number 1 gaming station on the internet?
Yeah, who is your number 1 gaming station?
My number 1 gaming station? That would be GameSHOUT Radio.
Hoo-yah!
Score diggity. Well, thanks, Nick. And folks, again, we have more prizes to give away. Just tune into the show. Come on. And we will be giving out a lot more stuff as time goes. We got more games. We got more games next week. I think next week we're going to give out a copy of Dark Watch. We're not going to let you know for which system yet. Maybe one for each. Maybe we'll see how the show goes. But we're going to have to. We're running short on time here. We're going to have to hand this one over to... do we have enough time for Jadri here? Mav, can you play the clip real quick? Okay. We're going to hand this over to Jadri, and he's going to do his quick preview of Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance for the GameCube.
No audio?
Oh, he's still on the phone.
He's still on the phone, so just do your preview.
Well, hey, if that's the case, and you want to do it that way, and you really want to have that, well, then let's do it.
Well, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. This turn-based strategy game for GBA and many other systems. SNES, there's been a Fire Emblem for SNES, NES, GBA. Now we've got one for the GameCube. Its rightful home. Well, their latest continuation, it looks like the future is pretty bright for the series. The game is set in the pretty calm land of Crimea, where you play an up-and-coming mercenary named Ike. Your father, Greel, is the leader of a mercenary group called, guess what? The Greel Mercenaries. Pretty creative, huh? Well, basically it looks like you play Ike, and you're gathering up friends who will adventure with you. Weird thing is, if any of your friends end up dying, you can't resurrect them. So, keep the buddies you have, and hope you don't lose them.
Yeah, it definitely looks like one of those games. Oh, sorry. I thought you were done there.
Nope. Visually, this game looks pretty good. It doesn't hold quite the same visual flair as Final Fantasy X-2 or something, but it's still pretty good. And the cutscenes, I mean, if you've played something like Tales of Symphonia and you've seen the in-game cutscenes, you'll know what you're in for. It's pretty nice looking 2D cutscenes. It looks pretty interesting, not just for the game, but the story too. I know that when it comes out, I'm gonna have to rent it and try this bad Larry out. If you're a Fire Emblem fan or a turn-based strategy freak, check it out. This Monday it comes out, or for all you podcasters out there, October 17th.
Score diggity. Hey, yeah, I love that game. I have it for my Game Boy Advance, and it was an awesome turn-based strategy game. One of the best since the Shining Force series. Hey, folks, we got to take a quick break here. We're going to be right back. We have Ultimate Spider-Man coming up next. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
For the new gaming experience, visit undergroundtournaments.com for fair match gameplay and more. Enter tournaments to win SOCOM 3 through the month of October. Also, you can earn monthly giveaways just for being a free account holder. And don't forget to check out the shop for great deals in used games. Get started today at undergroundtournaments.com. That's right, undergroundtournaments.com.
Millions of people love Newegg.com. Go on that website and check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's a whole testimonial page. People are using the L word when it comes to Newegg.com. They say love. I love Newegg.com. How is Newegg.com earning this kind of devotion? Well, they sell computers, components, and electronics. That's true. But it's the great price. It's the huge selection. It's the fair shipping. And it's because the customer service is so great. They actually care about your satisfaction. They have video cards, routers, wireless networking equipment, DVD players, hard drives, software, digital cameras, and unbelievable fair shipping. So, I can't sing the praises of Newegg.com enough, and neither can anyone else. So whether you need a motherboard or the mother of all TVs, go to Newegg.com. You'll see what their millions of happy customers are raving about. Once you know, Newegg.com.
Are you looking for a stable game server hosting company? Well, BFG Servers has been in business since 2001. Looking for a game server hosting company with real credibility? Well, BFG Servers is a premier provider of internet gaming, voice, and web hosting services. Are you looking for a responsive, knowledgeable technical support? Well, BFG Servers generally responds to account holder technical issues within 1 hour. BFGServers.com, when size does matter.
Hey, welcome back to GameSHOUT Radio. This is Gamepad Gamers. We just gave away another copy of The Suffering Ties That Bind to Nick. And we're going to be giving away a lot more. Just tune in next week. If you listen to the podcast, tune in on Thursday nights, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern. This is when we give away this stuff. You guys could win this. It's easy. You just call in, you win. It's cool. We're going to give away some more games. We at least give one away every week. Plus, we got Risk Your Life on PC Playground. And we're going to be giving that away.
We got movies. We got movies that we're giving away during the movie segment on Wednesday nights. So at 8:30 on Wednesday, you can win a movie.
Folks, this is why you guys got to listen to the live show. Okay, so but Trick's getting impatient here, so we're going to have to go on over to him for his ultimate review of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Life. There are friends. sides.
Okay, first off, I have to say I love cel-shaded animation. What cel shading does to normal animation is it perfectly transforms a two-dimensional comic book drawing into a 3D world. So using this technique to turn the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book into a video game was definitely the way to go. And the cutscenes in the game are amazingly edited animation shorts that actually make you feel like you're reading a moving comic book. And it's Spider-Man, so you know the story is going to be enthralling. Well, sort of. Now see, when the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book came out, it was geared more towards the teens of today, so it's got that goofy comic book style, but not a really in-depth kind of, detailed story. So I wasn't really impressed with the story, and the lame one-liners that Peter Parker throws around, they get a little irritating. But still, it's Spider-Man, so whether or not the story is good, you still get to swing around the streets and back alleys of New York, or at least most of it. Now, I've played both the Spider-Man games based on the movies, and I was fairly impressed, but when you put those two next to Ultimate Spider-Man, they look and play a lot worse. Now, as far as the graphics are concerned, again, I have to say, cel shading, it's the way to go. It makes everything run smoothly with precise detail. As far as controls, well, the web swinging is both easy and complex. Now, for instance, to swing around town, all you have to do is press and release the swing button, but you have to be careful because your web's only going to stick to buildings and objects that are within its range. So this actually makes getting around a little bit easier once you get the hang of it. And yes, that pun was unfortunately unavoidable. Now, with a little practice, you'll be gliding down the streets and swinging around corners like a pro, but if you want to really even progress in the game, you'll need to learn a little bit more control. Like, you got to know how to boost your speed while you're swinging, or climb the web at the right moment just to get that extra bit of height and climb up to the top of buildings. Now, the combat system isn't very complex at all. You have a punch and a kick button, and as you progress through the game, the length of a combo that you can pull off increases, but you don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is jump around, dodge your enemies' attacks, and when you get the chance, mash those buttons. Now, thankfully, the boss fights carry a little bit more of a challenge, but sometimes I thought the fights were a little tedious and kind of difficult to get through. The only problem with the boss fights is that they actually require you to not only be good at the fighting part, but also really good at the web swinging part. Luckily, the time between boss fights can be spent in challenging races around the city or street fights, or you could just do random acts of kindness where you save people that are hanging from the edge of buildings and such. Now, with the races, you either try to get the best time possible or actually race against an opponent like that one fire guy from the Fantastic Four. Now, these races are great for practicing your web swinging skills, but once you run through all of them, they kind of get a little boring and a little irritating. The combat, same thing, gets boring after a while. But I forgot to mention, you also get to play as Venom, which means you get to play a beefier version of Spider-Man that doesn't have webs. So all these items, they add up to make a great gameplay, but not a lot of content. So all in all, I'm going to have to give it a 7.4 out of 10.
Sweet, I always loved Spider-Man. Hey guys, we got Soundboard up next. Stay tuned.
This is GameSHOUT Radio, the #1 talk game station in the world. Visit GameSHOUT.com for more info. GameSHOUT. GameSHOUT.